What's up, folks? Welcome to another episode of the 10 Horse Monty YouTube channel. Got my fishing dog with me. What's up, Finn? Say hi to the camera, Finn. Finn, you ready to go catch some fish? Ready to catch some fish? Springtime, folks. Had a little bit of rain last night, and we're gonna go shallow. I'm gonna try to catch some fish flipping. This lake is, well, I thought it was gonna be up, but it looks like, based off of what I'm seeing on the tree line over there in the bushes, that it has fallen a little bit. Anytime you come to a lake, you see that little bit of wetness above the water on the trees and stuff. That means the lake is falling, but I can't tell. It could just be wake, like boat wakes, so I won't know until I get up in here and start flipping around. But we're gonna try to go shallow. It's that time of year where, you know, the fish are wanting to spawn, but we've had a lot of fronts back and forth, so they'll pull up, pull back, pull up, pull back, and you just got to go up there and try it. We're gonna make something happen with the flipping stick. If not, we're gonna make some adjustments. Let's go. Hey, give me a thumbs up if you appreciate the content, and don't forget to subscribe to the channel. Finley, what are they biting on today? Scooby snacks? Gotta find us a fish. So far, this bush thing ain't paying off. I think this water's dropped quite a bit. Bite for sure. There he is. Classic bite. I mean, it just went light and started swimming off with it. Decent fish, getting bigger. Getting bigger. There we go. Just throwing a little D-bomb. Missile Baits D-bomb. Got a 4/0 flipping hook and a 3/8 ounce weight. Nice fish. Healthy. Beautiful fish. It's right off that bush over there. I was wondering if there'd even be any fish on these bushes. There may not be any big ones, but we come down through here and catch some small ones. Be good enough, right, for now. Make some adjustments later if we have to. It's good, just good to get some feedback. Got 2 bites right here in this one little stretch. That's kind of how it is. Fish a lot of these bushes and don't get bit, and then you come to the right little section, and next thing you know, you start catching fish. There he is. Trap fish. He's coming across this flat, you know, trying to get to these bushes, and it's picked up this lipless. Just to see, it's like 2 foot out there. Super shallow, there's a bunch of grass in this lake, like that snotty grass. So, we caught us one. There's some shad out here. This is that Thunderhawk Baits. It's a silent lipless. Just got some of these this year. Pretty cool looking design. I mean, it's got that purple on top, just your crawfish pattern. You know, red, orange. This lake's really stained. I mean, you got about 1 foot visibility. Decent fish. Right there, run your day. Didn't even see that. Got my bait hung up in that tree. Flipping these bushes, you know, you want to get as close to the base of that bush as you can. You know, right in there, lay it in there. I mean, a lot of times, especially in the stained water, they're gonna be sitting right up against the base of that. Just kind of shake it. Of course, we got a lot of algae in here. It's a little bit tricky. if you kind of pop it and shake it a little bit and just let it sit, you knock a little bit of that algae off. And just watch your line, because they're just kind of swimming off with it. All right, folks, we're gonna make a move. I wanted to fish that stretch of bushes, but I just can't get to it. It's like a foot deep, and there's not a lot of water in it. And this is just a big flat right here. We did have 61.5 degree water temperatures, so that's nice. First time this year I've seen water temperatures that high. We're gonna move kind of mid-lake, get around a little bit deeper water. We're still gonna stay shallow and start flipping some of these bushes, keep flipping some of these bushes. I don't think we need to make a change yet. I haven't covered enough water to eliminate the flip and bite, so make a little move, see what happens. Decided to do a little island and check out what's going on. You know, I haven't given up on that shallow bite, but I want to get off the bank a little bit and look. And there's a lot of bait out here deeper. I mean, look at this right here. That's looking pretty promising. Got a little creek channel coming in right here. Just got bait. Got a mix of a lot of stuff going on down there. So this is a spot that I'm probably going to come back to and throw a Carolina rig, maybe a deep diving crankbait, see if I can snag a fish or two. But we're going to keep moving, keep looking. There he is. Crankbait fish. Little guy. Real little guy. You gone? All right, folks. Little midday report. I've kept that flipping stick in my hand most of the morning, and it's not working. Caught a few fish, had a few bites, but they're just not up there yet. We have full sunshine, and I am sweating. I got insulated pants on because this morning it was like 50 degrees and kind of rainy. Well, it's got to be like 70 something now, and I'm feeling there's hardly any wind out here. Got a little case of swamp booty, but I have jumped out a little bit deep, throwing some moving baits, and there's shad everywhere in this lake. It's ridiculous the amount of shad in here. It's just everywhere you go, it's just covered up with shad. Sometimes that can make it a lot more difficult to find these fish, but I'm thinking since it's warmed up that I still have a hope and a prayer for this flip and bite to happen. A lot of times this time of the year, those fish pull off. We've had some cold fronts come through. We've had a couple cold fronts come through, rainy days, and the water temperature's dropped. It's warming back up, so those fish sometimes they'll slide out deeper and wait for things to warm up, because it's that time of year they're wanting to spawn. I'm sure some have already spawned, but you got to keep trying that, because it only takes 30 minutes to have one heck of a day if those fish do decide to pull up. And we're going to sample it, but for now I think I'm going to pull out a little bit deeper, and I'm going to maybe try like a Carolina rig, stroking a jig or something. I'll probably throw a crankbait a little bit too. Just cover that mid depth. This lake is not that deep, so I'm going to try to focus on that, 8 to 10 foot zone. And with this stained water, I wouldn't think you need to fish any deeper than that. But we're going to run that for a little bit, see if we can make something happen and leave enough time to slide back up shallow and start flipping again, see if some of these fish are pulled up. Water temperature is 64 degrees. It was 58 this morning, so it's warmed up quite a bit. That was a good fish. Oh man, I think they are spawning. I think there's some fish up there spawning. That worm is just sitting there. Dang it. They're spawning just deep enough you can't see them because of this dirty water. There he is. There he is, little guy, but finally got a bite. Switched up to a little wacky rig. I mean, I know there's some fish up there. Just getting them to bite. Another thing that's a problem is it's got this slimy algae stuff. So you're working something on the bottom, you just get gummed up. So I thought, well, I'll throw this wacky rig in there. And I've had a couple bites. I got a Tokyo rig rigged up too. This is that nasty grass. See what's going on? You cannot shake it. It's like real fibrous. Once your stuff gets in, it's like a spider web. Oop. That was a bite. Shook him off.
I tried to get that flipping bite going. It just was not happening. Kept after it. Changed fall rate a couple times by readjusting my weight size. You know, I tried the D-bomb. I tried a rage bug. Tried several different baits. Could not get it to work. And something I've learned in the past is when that's not happening, you know the fish are up there. They're, you know, it's spawning season. It's mid 60-degree water temps. The water is very, very stained. There's no reason the fish are not up there relating to that isolated cover. And I really felt like they were up there. So I switched to a wacky rig. I wasn't really prepared to fish a wacky rig. Normally I would throw that on a spinning gear, but I did have some in my boat. I still got a lot of winter stuff. I'm kind of transferring it over to the springtime stuff. So I started skipping that wacky rig around, and instantly I got feedback. You know, I was catching a lot of small fish, but I had a couple bites that felt like bigger fish. Felt like they were kind of moving it off, which is what will happen. A lot of times you'll get a bite and the line will just kind of move off. That's a fish that's on a bed and it's just moving it off the bed. You know, you got a worm. I was throwing the 5-inch max scent general wacky rig. The hook's gonna be in the middle. A lot of times they'll come up and they'll just grab this and they'll just move off. And when you set, there's nothing there. It happens with everything, with a jig, with a beaver style bait or whatever. They just kind of grab. They'll grab the, like a crawl bait, they'll just grab the pinchers and you set and there's nothing there, just a whiff. That's real common in the spawning season when the fish are on beds. They're not actually eating the bait. They're not trying to suck it in and eat it. They're just trying to move it. They just don't want it on their bed. They're just trying to move it. And I found that when they're not hitting, you know, something that's falling really fast and, you know, sitting in their bed, they'll want something that's falling really slow. It's I don't know why, it just happens. So the wacky rig is a great way to pick up some fish when they won't hit traditional flipping baits. Another reason that I went with this is because that lake has that algae. And I was calling it grass, but it's like an algae. It's like a fibrous algae, and it was covered on everything. And when you get your weight down there in the bottom, once it gets in the bottom, it just gums it up. It gets covered up, your bait gets covered up, and it's useless, so you have to reel in. This comes through that stuff. This is a great way to combat that algae. You know, it's a really slow fall rate, and it kind of lays. It lays on top of it because it's weightless. Tokyo rig is another way, because the Tokyo rig has that dropper. You got weight on the bottom, and your bait's elevated up off the bottom. But a wacky rig is the way to go. I'll show you what I was throwing it on real quick. I was just throwing it on a 7-foot medium heavy Falcon Care rod, 15-pound test, and this is a really great hook for a wacky rig, and this is the VMC weedless Nico hook. Been throwing this hook around for multiple years, and it doesn't look like it's that weedless, but it does a really good job actually. It just has these two pieces of, I don't know, it looks like a really stiff mono. That's all it is, but it's just enough to deflect the cover. And if you fish it really slow, and then when you come up to a tree branch, let me rig this up real quick. Throw this little general max hit general on there. These are great baits too, by the way. They're expensive. They're like $1 a piece, but they're really good. And I would recommend getting those collars. They make little collars, and I'm out of them. I've just ordered some, but they have a little collar that you slide on, and the hook goes through the collar. And that way you catch a lot more fish, because this is like 1 or 2 fish and they throw it off, unfortunately. But with this weedless Nico rig hook, all you do is when you come up to a tree limb and it gets right here, it's going to have a tendency to roll a little bit, but that fiber will kind of stop it. So if you just shake it, and just shake it when you're coming over, the worm will actually just slide right over. So instead of pulling it into the cover, just kind of shake it and it'll come right over. And you'll get it through a lot thicker stuff than you really think you can. So stay tuned. Got some more fish catches, and I did catch a really good one here right at the end. So hang with me.
Maybe a bite. There's a bite. Another little one. Man. Some big ones have not moved up yet. There he is. Lost my worm. Right on that piece of wood. Still no giant, but better than the last couple ones. There you go. No giant by any means, but I am getting a few bites. You know, this wacky rig's keeping the bait out of the slime, which is making me fish a lot more efficiently. Fishing a lot more efficiently. Keep losing my worms though. I need to buy some of those little collars. It's getting expensive. You can skip this wacky rig right up underneath those trees and stuff. It's a lot easier with the spinning gear, but you can still do it with the bait caster. If those fish are bedding, they're probably going to be right up underneath these trees. And that VMC weedless Nico hook is pretty good for coming through cover. I'm just skipping this thing right up beneath that tree there. There you go. Good little skip in there. It's kind of a natural presentation. It's like a minnow just kind of flurrying. Like say a minnow's getting chased from a bass. A lot of times they'll skip across the water. That skipping technique mimics that fleeing bait fish. Dude, I can hear it. I'm watching that bait go by. There we go. Aha! Making an adjustment. So I've been flipping shallow. Seems like there should be some fish up there, but it's just not going on. They're just letting that bait go by, the Texas rig, you know, beaver type bait, go by, and there's a lot of algae on the bottom of this lake. So I've just got a size 1 VMC weedless Nico hook. I've actually got 15-pound test. Normally I do this on a spinning rod, but I wasn't prepared to do this. And you know, I'm just thinking something slow fall around this brush could make a difference. And that's a good quality fish, man. Good quality fish. So I think I've figured something out. Hopefully, I'm gonna run this for a little bit more. It's later in the afternoon. Maybe some of these fish are starting to pull up where they weren't there yet earlier. But I think that slow fall rate's a little bit something a little bit different that not everybody's doing. Good quality fish. There he is. Oh, fell lay down. Little guy. Little guy, but so what? It's fun. It counts. Wacky rig. There we go. Right on that rock. Decent fish. Oh yeah, look at him, guys. Wacky big fish. Nice fish, right on those rocks. All right, folks, it's gonna wrap it up, man. Give me a thumbs up if you appreciate the content. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel. It was slow out here, man. Picked up the little wacky rig, managed to catch a few fish, salvaged the day. That's a nice one, really fat fish. Up there shallow, right on that riprap. That fish was in like 3 foot of water, about a foot of visibility. Challenging day, but I kept at it. And you know, if you're fishing a lake that's got a lot of grass and slimy stuff on the bottom, Wacky rig is a great way to keep it above that stuff and be a little bit more efficient. Nice. Till next time. Pretty solid fish, man. Pretty solid fish. Feels good to have this fish on a tough day. Let's let her go. She's got some eggs in her. Get on out of here. Man, you just gotta keep casting. Keep casting.